What's up, fellow bike nerds? Welcome back to the Weekly Rewind, where we catch you up on all the hottest cycling news from the previous week. Today, our lead story is all about gearboxes, because last week we saw not just one, but two teams announce that they'll be racing a gearbox-equipped bike in this year's UCI Downhill World Cup. I'll give you more details on what those two bikes are in just a second, but let's start off with a quick overview of what gearboxes are and why they've been gaining popularity in downhill mountain biking. A gearbox is essentially what it sounds like. It's a collection of gears inside a box in the bottom bracket junction of the frame that operates similarly to a transmission in a car or a motorcycle. This has quite a few advantages. Most notably, it does away with the rear derailleur. That reduces fail points as well as takes the unsprung weight of the derailleur and the cassette and puts them in a more favorable, low and centered position on the frame. Another big perk is that gearboxes can be shifted without pedaling. There are, however, some drawbacks. Most notably being the increased overall weight, higher drivetrain drag, and the fact that gearboxes don't shift super well under heavy loads. In addition to those aforementioned benefits, another huge reason why we're seeing a lot of World Cup teams adopt gearbox-equipped bikes is because of the €100,000 purse being offered by Gates, a gearbox belt manufacturer, for the first rider to win a World Cup on a gearbox-equipped bike. That kind of prize money is unheard of in mountain biking, to be the equivalent of winning 27 World Cup races. So circling back now to the bikes themselves. Like I mentioned earlier, there were two teams this last week who announced that they'll be racing the 2025 season aboard a gearbox-equipped bike. The first is MC Racing, who will be using the 0 to G3. The second is Atherton, who unveiled their all-new A200G prototype last week. The new bike uses Atherton's tried-and-true combination of carbon fiber tubes and 3D printed titanium lugs, and for the first time, uses a high pivot suspension design. So now that you're all caught up on Gearbox Mania, why don't you go ahead and just hit that like button real quick. And while you do, I'll tell you about our next product highlight, the Kodak BFE. And yes, that's glow-in-the-dark paint you're looking at. One of the few cycling-related features that's equally helpful for showing off on night rides as it is keeping you safe on the way back from the bar. In addition to that fancy new paint job, Kodak has also made some pretty major updates to the frame. The coolest of which, in my opinion, is their double-decker dropout system. This allows you to run a 27.5-inch or 29-inch wheel while maintaining the same bottom bracket height. Chainstay length does change, however, going from 445 to 431 millimeters when you decrease wheel size. The bike also gets a super slack 63.2-degree head tube angle when run with a 150mm fork, and Kodak says that the steel frame is compatible with anywhere from 120 to 160 millimeters of travel. You can get the new BFE as a frame only or as one of 5 complete bikes that start at €2,099. Let's stick with mountain bikes for just a sec longer and check out the all-new Hunt Proven Trail wheels. These carbon hoops list for $1,500, come with a lifetime warranty, and have some pretty unique features. One of the most intriguing of those is what Hunt is calling their H-Core technology, which is a hardened carbon ring inserted into the carbon layup. Hunt says that this significantly increases impact resistance without sacrificing much extra weight. Speaking of rim construction, the front and rear wheel each get their own carbon layup as well as spoke choice, leading to a more compliant and forgiving wheel in the front and a stronger and stiffer one out back. Lastly, fans of high engagement hubs will be happy to hear that these wheels get Hunt rapid engage hubs with just 2 degrees of play or 180 points of engagement. All in all, this puts the weight of the 29-inch wheel set at 1,732 grams, which isn't the lightest option on the market, even considering the relatively affordable price tag. But it does seem like Hunt has put a lot of attention into the strength and ride feel of these wheels. If you combine that with the lifetime warranty, this could be the last wheel set you have to buy for a long time. Speaking of wheels, our next product highlight is this wavy new wheel set from Campagnolo. This latest update of the Chamal wheels varies in depth from 40 to 45 millimeters, which they claim provides the optimal blend of stiffness and weight savings. This new design is also said to improve overall aerodynamics without being overly affected by crosswinds. In addition to that wider rim depth, the new Chamal wheels are also 2 millimeters wider, with an internal width of 23 millimeters. Despite this added size, Campagnolo claims that they're still 105 grams lighter than the outgoing model, putting the total weight at 1,480 grams. One thing they're not, however, is cheap, and you'll have to fork out $2,085 to get yourself a pair. Our last product highlight from last week comes from our favorite mad scientist down at 5Dev, who released a new aluminum adapter that allows you to run Shimano chainrings with any 8-bolt direct mount cranks. The Spider weighs 73 grams and gives you a 4-bolt 110 BCT mounting interface, making it compatible with Dura Ace rings, but sadly not Ultegra or GRX. You can get your own from 5Dev's website for $180. This week, we're introducing an all-new segment to the Weekly Rewind, something we're calling the Deal of the Week, where I've gone ahead and handpicked my favorite find from the 99 Spokes deal page. This week, we have the Bold Unplugged Pro, a high-spec carbon enduro bike with a sneaky hidden shock. The bike usually lists for a whopping $9,000, but right now you can get it for just $3,000 or 67% off on Jensen USA. At this point, you're probably wondering why such a low price, and we have our suspicions as to why this is. I have some inside knowledge that Scott, who bought Bold a couple years ago and now uses that hidden shock design on nearly all their full suspension bikes, is planning to do away with Bold as its own independent company and therefore trying to sell off all remaining inventory. But regardless of the reason, if you want to have the most head-turning bike at your next enduro race, then this thing is the bike to have. There's an affiliate link to purchase this bike from Jensen USA down in the description, and using that link for any of your cycling-related purchases is a great way to help out the 99 Spokes website as well as this YouTube channel. Speaking of the site, be sure to check out 99spokes.com/deals for dozens of other great finds, like this Norco Torrent Steel Hardtail for less than $1,000, or this Carbon GT Grade for 50% off. Time now for some industry gossip. This week, we were treated to a blurry image of what appears to be the next-gen SRAM Force Groupset. The image, which was leaked onto the Wavy Wheels forum, includes new shifters, calipers, derailleur, and chain, most of which are marked with the Force branding, but also clearly are taking cues from SRAM's flagship red Groupset that came out last summer. I think one of the biggest changes here is going to be the shifter, which takes on the same lower profile hood as the new red shifters. This new design has been widely praised by folks who have ridden it, so it'll be awesome to see these improved ergonomics and braking power at a more affordable price. Speaking of brakes, the calipers shown in the photo take on the same shape as the red calipers, sans the full width machining. The derailleurs see the least amount of change, with just a bit of machining, which we imagine will save a few grams. And speaking of weight savings, it appears that the Force chain will now feature hollow inner and outer plates. Notably missing from the photo is an updated Force cassette and crankset, so we'll just have to wait and see if those come out with the rest of the new Force Groupset. When it does, you know that we'll report on that right here on the Weekly Rewind. So you might as well just subscribe right now. Finally, we've made it to my favorite part of the show, where I get to share with you a little something that got me stoked from the previous week, or in this case, made me smile. In a recent social media post, Peter Sagan announced that he was, quote, ready to swap the bicycle for the dance floor and will be competing in the Slovakian version of Dancing with the Stars. There's no word yet on if or how this will impact his cycling calendar for 2025, but we expect and hope to see him at more than a few cross-country mountain bike races this coming year. Really, I can't think of a better person to represent cycling to the mainstream Slovakian media than Peter Sagan, and we wish you, sir, the best of luck. So there you have it, another week of cycling news in the books. And if you haven't done so yet, I'd appreciate it if you just like this video. It doesn't cost you anything and it helps this channel out a ton, as well as subscribe to the 99 Spokes channel where we upload a new Weekly Rewind every Monday. Until the next time, remember that bikes are for everyone. Have fun out there.